Welcome to The Know, I'm Meg Turney.
I'm John Reisinger.
Now that we've given Fallout 4 a moment to clear out of every news piece ever, we wanted to turn our attention to a game that's actually been getting quite a bit of love this week.
Rise of the Tomb Raider had the misfortune of coming out on the same day as Fallout 4, but that hasn't stopped reviewers from giving Lara Croft a few well-deserved shout-outs.
Hey girl, that Tress Effects hair looks real pretty. Rise of the Tomb Raider is the follow-up to the reboot of Rise of Tomb Raider, damn it, by Crystal Dynamics. That's what it's called, Tomb Raider, damn it!
Yeah!
And Square Enix, out exclusively for the Xbox One until 2016. PC players will have to wait until the first quarter of next year, and PlayStation 4 owners have to wait until Q4.
But maybe the waiting might be a little less agonizing if you knew that the game was bad. Unfortunately for you, it's not. Rise of the Tomb Raider has spelunked its way to an 87 on Metacritic.
Remember when this game wasn't happening because Square Enix was disappointed it only sold 3 million copies its first month? The numbers were so disappointing to Square that former CEO Yoichi Yada resigned, even though the game set a franchise record for first day and first month sales.
I must now retire and change my island made of gold. It looks like there's going to be plenty of money for Square Enix this time around, thanks to rave reviews. Telegraph gave the game a 100, Game Informer a 95, and IGN a 9.3. Forbes, Games Radar, and GameSpot all met at Club 90 for drinks and an after party, while the good folks at EGM, Giant Bomb, and The Escapist preferred to dish out 80s.
They are always the low end, y'all. 2013's Tomb Raider told the gripping tale of a young woman thrust into survival mode against her will on the dangerous, mystical island of Yamatai. In this new entry, Lara is hunting down a magical artifact said to grant eternal life in order to clear her father's name. You know, typical Uncharted Jones Raider material. So, how does Rise of the Tomb Raider story fare in comparison? Well, that's one area where the reviewers are split down the middle.
Some reviewers felt like the story improved upon Tomb Raider. GameSpot says in its review, there's a tragic, harrowing, uplifting story at play here, and Rise of the Tomb Raider tells it through details. There's enough exposition to provide meaningful context, but not enough to get in the way of, well, having fun. But on the flip side, Polygon offered a counterpoint stating that if there's one spot where Rise of the Tomb Raider is noticeably worse than its predecessor, it's the overarching narrative. What minor growth she sees by the end of the story comes across as forced and frankly not terribly interesting.
Ouch. However, this difference in opinions didn't seem to hamper anyone's enjoyment of the overall game because, let's face it, more of the same in this case is awesome. The game's story still moves at a breakneck pace and is perfectly complemented by the gameplay. Giant Bomb in particular praised the flow of the game, saying, "The story routinely sends you through 30 minutes to an hour of tense, tightly designed climbing and shooting sequences in linear, constrained areas, the stuff you expect from this kind of big-budget thrill ride, and then right around the point when you feel like it's time for a break, it pops you back out into one of the handful of expansive hub areas that are chock full of shorter, less urgent activities."
The addition of hub areas is one of the main things that separates Rise from the prequel. Rise of the Tomb Raider aims to be even bigger than its predecessor, offering tons of new areas to explore. It's not quite open world, but it gives you just enough freedom to have lots of fun stuff to do. Forbes praised the hub areas, noting that Rise of the Tomb Raider is in some ways an open world game. Lara is an explorer after all. It has all the trappings of one, an upgrade system, craftables, challenges, and side missions. But it's not actually, and it's so much better for it.
When it comes to the game design, all you need is hub. If you play Tomb Raider, there's one thing.
That was horrible.
Thank you.
That was horrible.
I liked it though. There's one thing you're probably dying to know if you've played Tomb Raider. How are the tomb puzzles? While people loved the puzzles in 2013's Tomb Raider, it was often just as puzzling that the game didn't include more of them, and why so many of them were hidden as opposed to flowing with the main game. Well, there's some good news and bad news.
Good news, more puzzles and they're even better. Bad news, they're still hidden. Why would you hide the best part of your game, Crystal Dynamics?
It's like the part of the title. Lots of things hide their good parts in the middle, like Oreos, or Reese's, Blade.
No. Many reviewers wanted puzzles to be more front and center too. Telegraph writes, "There's a complaint, it's that this obvious talent at puzzlecraft is tucked away in side missions rather than permeating the main campaign. The puzzles that do crop up in Lara's quest are great, but one suspects the developers couldn't quite figure out a way of incorporating more of these tombs in the story without halting its rhythm."
So we've talked story, structure, and tombs, but how does the game actually play? The first game introduced huge set pieces that combine stealth gameplay with skin-to-your-teeth survival shooting and platforming, making for some really intense encounters. I've these and these and these and these buff buddies. We're happy to report that Rise brings more of the same.
Forbes was bold enough to bring up Nathan Drake, Lara's half-tucked shirt counterpart. It's impossible to think about Rise of the Tomb Raider without thinking about Uncharted, but from a gameplay perspective, Rise is nothing if not Uncharted Plus. This is the new standard in third-person shooter adventure games.
Wow, fanboy reaction incoming in 3, 2, 1. IGN agreed that this is the best part of Rise, saying the most heart-hammering moments in Rise of the Tomb Raider come from the frantic, acrobatic chases as I fumbled for the right button hundreds of feet above ground. So it sounds like you're gonna die a lot. For those worried Rise of the Tomb Raider wouldn't produce more amazing Lara Croft death montages, it's your lucky day.
In the first game, Lara moved from being terrified in the shadows to becoming a ruthless survivor, and Rise of the Tomb Raider ups the ante even further. Lara now has the ability to craft special ammo on the fly, and has even more deadly tools in her arsenal like poison arrows, all of which allow her to mow down hundreds of bad guys.
I guess all that therapy she got in the trailer isn't helping her out with those new mass murdering tendencies. Game Informer enjoyed the combat, but said it got a bit tedious as the game went on, saying these later sequences often feel like Lara versus the world and feel repetitive as you're eliminating wave after wave of enemies. This breaks the momentum of the otherwise exceptional action. Other reviewers felt like the stealth gets discarded in later parts of the game because Lara basically becomes an unstoppable killing machine.
As women normally do. Nope, can't keep that in there.
Yes, we're keeping it.
The other tedious part of the game comes from the crafting. With so many resources and collectibles, Games Radar calls it overkill. Raw materials for crafting are everywhere you go, and that starts to become a problem. When you've got mushrooms, berries, birds' nests, saplings, and ore, as well as relics, challenge items, coin caches, fallen adventure satchels, fallen enemies to loot, documents, and animal, you're literally always picking stuff up.
However, it sounds like all those resources are much more scarce in Survivor, the game's hard mode that features tougher enemies and no health regeneration.
And speaking of modes, we have to mention Expedition mode, which adds leaderboard challenges to the main campaign and cards that mix up the gameplay on the fly. There's even Twitch functionality, allowing viewers to vote on cards like Big Head mode and Rainbow Trail, all of which affect the game while you're actually playing it.
Big Head mode, really? Seriously, you gotta buy this game.
Is she playing football?
Yes. So how long has that been since we've had a good big head mode? Big head jokes are just a dime a dozen.
I need a mode that is just Lara Croft in therapy. You could pay in-game money to talk to a therapist.
The trailer is very intense. I think you're actually talking about real therapy, though.
Yes, everyone knows I
We
have
just
issues.
stomped all over Eddy's jokes here. We did.
Jokes, jokes, jokes! I've got some issues to work out too, so who wants to help Lara work out her issues in Siberia? Did you play the first game? Have you started playing Rise of the Tomb Raider? Have you played Big Head mode? Really? That's the only question I care about.
Big head meme sticks. To stay on top of Tomb Raider news and big head mode updates, and stuff keeps coming. Like this video and subscribe to the know. Just like a dick. Nailed it!